friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here today for Preparedness Testimonies Part 6. And what these are, if you're new to my channel, is people are sending in their preparedness testimonies. So these are just positive stories about how people got to where they are on a budget and how being more prepared and more self-sufficient really got them through some difficult times. And today is actually just one person. But at any rate, if you'd like to see the rest of the videos in this series, please go down below and click on either more or show more, depending on what platform you're watching from, just below the video screen or just below the ad below the video screen, to open up the description box and find any of the links I'll be putting in there. So let's get to this lady's story. We moved to our land in Oregon 14 years ago. I quit working and dedicated my time solely to finding ways to construct and build in the most budget-friendly way. My whole focus was on how to save money and still develop the land, while also taking care of aging parents. We didn't pay for trash service, saving $65 a month. Wow, is that what it is? I don't know. We've never paid for that ourselves, ever. We've always just made our own trips to the dump. And taking our trash in twice a year for $20 to $30 a trip. That sounds about right. Now we have trash service, but we have the on-call service, which costs $15.40 every time they pick it up. That's actually pretty good, because if you're not having to pay when you consider the cost of fuel and stuff driving back and forth. Something I learned about when I called and asked them. We got so good at reducing our waste and recycling that we only call for pickup every 2 to 3 months. I built a garden by going to the dump. Our dump has a large area where wood is piled up from old construction projects, like decks, and I would bring them home and build raised beds out of them. Those beds lasted 8 years. I then went to cedar beds, and as they are deteriorating, I'm working more towards long-term beds as I save the money for each one. I calculated out the cost of how much it would cost me to grow a veggie compared to buying it, and calculated how much money I was saving each time. I used the money I saved by buying canning equipment. Very good. Most of my canning equipment, however, came to me for free. That sounds familiar. We've got, even though we did buy our canners, one of them at a garage sale for $5, and it's an all-American, and the other one brand new, and it's a larger one that we paid full price for. But yeah, canning jars, we've got, most of the canning jars we've got over the years have been for free. People just giving them away either at garage sales or family or friends that don't need them anymore. Older people love to pass on their jars and equipment, and I always offered to pay for them. But they ended up usually giving them to me because I was keeping the tradition of feeding my family going. I calculated all the money I saved per batch of canning and used that money to buy equipment that would make my life easier. It's just me working the homestead. My husband has a full-time demanding job. I put myself through school with my savings to become a certified permaculturist and a master gardener. I took the money I was saving from doing everything myself and paid off the tiny single wide we lived in for 11 years. We slowly built sheds and shops, and all the while doing it as we had the money. The property still isn't finished. I am currently digging and laying a block wall to terrace a part of the land. Let's be honest, the property will never be finished, but that's okay. It's what God leads me to do. A few years ago, we built our final home on the main part of our land, and currently all the money we can save goes to paying that off. We are very conservative in building the home. We didn't do any massive upgrades except structural. The county planner told me I was one of the few home builders that updated the bones that couldn't be seen instead of the countertops. He smiled and said it was a smart move. People in our community have learned I am the one that will take their junk and somehow turn it into something cool. 2 years ago, I had a bone pile and was able to build a cute cottage vibe greenhouse for $350. The actual cost of the shed was about $150, but I had to buy a new saw blade to cut the hardy plank, and paint is expensive now. I ask my husband every so often if he would like me to go get a real job. He laughs. After he finishes his chuckle, he says, I would prefer you don't. I don't think we can afford for you to go find work off the land. I have become accustomed to this lifestyle of ours. Not sure I would like downgrading. Very cool. He likes his homemade lunches he takes to work and all the comments people make about his delicious food. He is more than correct in his observation, though. I save more money than I could ever earn out in the real world of jobs. I should give you a disclaimer. I also have a YouTube channel and TikTok where I show everything I do and build on the land. And I follow it up at the end with how much it cost and how much did I save or not. Basically, was it worth it? Nothing like your channel. I started it so I could show my daughters how to save money. Trust me, I am no threat to your amazing content. I can barter and trade for goods and services in a way that benefits not only my household, but others as well. I have found ways of saving so much money that I literally can't afford to go back into the workforce. Someone had a broken freeze dryer. They sold it to me for 90% of what they paid for it. I picked it up in an hour. I was there in 30 minutes with cash. I don't know if I'm reading that part right about the 90%. I don't know if she paid 90% of what the original buyer paid, or if she only paid 10%, if she took 90% off, because 10%, that'd be a really good deal. It cost me nothing to fix it, but a few hours of research online. I currently have pineapple in it I got on sale at the grocery store. The loss leader part of the sale. I made deals with brewers for the leftover waste product and created my own recipes to turn them into bread products and delicious goodness. I barter with a lady that raises pigs and cows and process all her animal fat. I now no longer buy lard or tallow and rarely buy butter because I have recreated my baked goods to use tallow and not butter. I grow my own herbs, and being a master gardener, use those skills to propagate my own plants from cuttings and so on. This is how I grew up as a kid. I come from a long line of homesteaders, and my parents left that lifestyle for a normal life, and we just pulled to come back to it. 14 years in, and I have no desire to go back to the city. I could go on about the health benefits and how I healed my gut and allergies and reversed the autoimmune issue I was developing from my work as a 911 dispatcher, and how I also grow so much of our own medicine, but this is long enough. And it was very good. It was very well done. Thank you for sharing your story. Some of the things that she mentioned was the whole idea of bartering for goods and services. So that's what we're in the process of doing with our friends, because we have a limited space here. Even with our other piece of property down the road, we're still rather limited, and our other piece outside of town, as to what all we can do. But we have friends that are they have a 40-acre piece. They're working on building up their farm. They're fairly new to the area. They're going to have milk and meat that we can also barter with for goods and services of our own. And we're working together as a community in that way. And there's other ways that you can do things. And I just had a video come out recently on, every homestead has its challenges. So I appreciated the fact she threw in there about the work never being done, because that's just the way it is. No matter who you are, no matter what you have, no matter how big your channel is and how good a person's life may look on screen, there's always challenges. There's always things that need to be repaired. There's always upgrades that need to be done. There's always going to be animals that get sick and either need to be tended to or taken down because they're too old or whatever it is. That's just the way it is. It's not perfect. It's not, people say, oh, you live a dream life. No, I live the life that's right for us. But I wouldn't say it's a dream. It's work. It's hard work. And sometimes there's heartbreak involved as well. It's just a part of it. But the whole idea is not to necessarily have this perfect utopian life. It's about learning how to be more self-sufficient, but you're never going to be entirely self-sufficient no matter what people claim. There's always going to be a dependency on somebody who either has the skills for this thing or has the ability to grow this thing or raise that thing, where we can all work together. So I recommend, if you haven't seen it yet, go back and watch that video that I did on, every homestead has its challenges, because I share some of our own, and I'll put the link to that in the description box down below, along with that playlist that I already mentioned. And if I happen to think of any other videos I think would go good with this topic and what I'm sharing here, then I'll link to those as well, because my goal here with my channel is to be encouraging to people, to help heal their bodies, to help learn how to be more self-sufficient, to be able to do things on limited funds or limited space. That's what my main focus is, and that is one of the purposes for this playlist, as well as the one on the natural healing testimonies. So not only are you hearing my own stories, but you're hearing stories from people all over the world that are willing to share. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.